Asus continues to release tiny PCs under the Nook line, and they brought a new one here for Computex 2025. Not only that, they actually have a new router that we're going to check out at the end too, so you're going to stick around for that. But first, let's dive into the Nooks. So this is the Asus Nook 15 Performance. And if it looks familiar, that's because it is. It's actually a retooling of the ROG version that we saw at CES 2025, and it's kind of chilled out. You know, somebody who doesn't need all that RGB bling, all that gamerness up in their Nook, this is for them. And to be quite honest, I actually kind of like this aesthetic a little bit better myself. Though I do wish they kept the translucent plastic of the ROG version. So before we dive into the internals of this Nook, I do want to pause and mention that this video is sponsored by Asus. Thank you to them for sponsoring our Computex 2025 travel. And what that means is that they asked me to highlight this and a couple other things in this video, but they did not tell me what to say, and all opinions are my own. So a lot of the things about this Nook are actually very similar to the ROG version, like the cooling, the fan, the motherboard, all that kind of stuff. But they do have a slight variation on configuration. So this one does get up to an Arrow Lake based CPU, so it's a mobile CPU in this package, but it does have a lot of cooling to keep it cool and quiet. On the GPU side, it features up to an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5070 laptop version. So unlike the gaming version that can go even higher than that, up to a 5090, you know, somebody who needs this kind of workstation doesn't really need that kind of power anyway. So they keep it a little bit more simple on the GPU side. So Asus is going to sell this in a couple different configuration options for the CPU and the GPU combo. In terms of configuration options inside the Nook 15 Performance, on the CPU side, we have Arrow Lake based mobile parts, that is H parts, so Ultra 9 or Ultra 7 Series 2. And on the GPU side, there are two options. You either get an GeForce RTX 5060 or step up to a 5070. But the biggest difference is actually packaging, because the ROG version of this Nook comes pre-configured with everything internal. Somebody who is looking at this kind of system is actually looking for more of a bare bones kit. And that means when you buy this system, you are going to have to provide your own LPDDR5 cam and SSDs that you want to install in it. In terms of pricing, of course, it depends on the configuration options, but they're telling me that it starts at $1,200 and goes up from there. And don't forget, you got to bring your own LP cam and SSD. And it should be available in July. But the Nook 15 Performance isn't the only mini PC that Asus brought to Computex 2025. Here I have the Nook 15 Pro and the Nook 15 Pro Plus. Now these were announced at CES and they are actually currently on the market, but they're showing off something here at Computex that I actually didn't get a chance to look at CES. So let's check this out. So on the underside of the device, it has a toolless entry. It does have a little screw in case you want to lock it, but you just latch it open and boom, expose the internals. So this is a pretty standard motherboard layout for these Nooks, but with one key difference. You can tell that the device is a little bit taller, and that's because they used to put hard drives in there, but most people don't really need hard drives there anymore. They need SSDs. So not only does it have option for a 2280 SSD, it actually has an option for this little riser card to attach a second 2280 NVMe SSD into the device, so you can get more expansion options. Not only that, you notice right here is a little expansion module that comes off of a header on the motherboard and terminates to the back of the system. So here we're looking at a LAN and serial port expansion configuration, but Asus tells me that they're actually going to have a couple that you can pick from, including a dual LAN setup. Not only that, the top of the system, if I pull it off right here, can actually be expanded. So they're telling me that you can actually stack these modules if you want more computing power or to add some sort of port configuration, anything like that. So it really is a nice handy little device that you can kind of further expand. In terms of configuration options, we have the Intel Core Ultra H series processors in here. You can pick anything from a 5 to a 9, and these are Arrow Lake based systems. But Asus tells me that actually this shorter, flatter one has a superior cooling performance in here and can boost the TDP range on certain processors by like almost 40 watts in terms of performance. So that's actually pretty interesting. Now I promised it, but let's quickly go over the routers that Asus brought to the show, and all of them are tri-band Wi-Fi 7 routers. First up is the TUF BE9400. Now this system has 4 2.5 gigabit Ethernet ports on the back and 8 antennas around the side. This is meant to be an entry-level option into the greatness that is Wi-Fi 7. Now stepping up is something we actually saw at CES 2025. This craziness is the ROG Rapture GTBE19000AI. That's a lot of numbers, a very big name for a very big router. But the most interesting one for me was actually this one right here. And to tell you the truth, I initially walked by it because I thought it was a mini PC and I was like, huh, that's a little desktop? No, I had to come back because this is the router itself. This is the ROG Strix GS-BE18000. Once again, this is a tri-band Wi-Fi 7 router. Now, if we give a peek around the back, we see there is 8 2.5 gigabit per second ports, but 2 of them are actually labeled with the little ROG logo, meaning these are the gaming ports for game acceleration and all that AI features that they have built in to make sure you are gaming at your optimal speed. You don't want to be sitting there in your game and just kind of have it slow down. You need a fast router to get those headshots off, right? I'm not a professional, so I wouldn't use it. Also, an interesting one about this is that it has AFC-enabled 6 gigahertz. Now, I'm actually not familiar with this technology is, but Asus tells me it is automatic frequency coverage, and it helps ensure that you get better coverage depending where you're at in your household. Now, unfortunately, I don't have pricing or availability information on any of these routers, so you're gonna have to check it on PCWorld later for that information, but I can tell you, Wi-Fi 7 is awesome, and you need to upgrade to it. I have, and I love it. But that's it for this video, but there is more Computex 2025 coverage here on PCWorld's YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe, get down in the comments, tell me what you think about all these Wi-Fi routers and if you've upgraded to Wi-Fi 7, because I really do think you should. And be sure to check out this next video right here. It's a good one.